Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And today we are going to talk about Daredevil Season 2, starting with Episode 1. What are your thoughts?
Well, starting off with a bang, literally.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to go with the pun. I thought it was a good start. You know, it's reestablishing the characters. They mentioned Fisk a little bit, and it's kind of exactly what would happen in this story. Mm-hmm. You've removed Fisk, who had all of this power. He's cleaned out every other crime in the city, in Hell's Kitchen. Mm-hmm. But then when you remove him, there's now this huge vacuum, and all these other
crime lords,
gangs are now trying to grab a piece of what was left by Fisk. Yeah. And then someone is strategically wiping out all of these people that were all these criminals.
I really like that they didn't waste any time showing us the Punisher. Like, they put him in Episode 1 as opposed to Episode 3.
Yeah, and honestly,
they did it right. Everybody was curious about him, so why not put him in Episode 1?
And plus, from what it seems like, there's going to be plenty more of other characters to bring in. And out of all of them, the ninjas, the Hand, Elektra, and the Punisher, the one they're going to start off with is the Punisher because it's a little bit more grounded in that reality.
Yeah.
But you still don't know much about him. You don't know who he is. You don't know. They haven't told you. Us comic book nerds kind of know. Even though my education on the Punisher isn't that vast. I know the basics, pretty much.
You guys are going to laugh. My education is based on those horrible movies that they made of the Punisher. So I know Frank Castle. I know he's pretty brutal and he's military and anything goes. And that's about it. So I'm very excited to see more of Punisher coming. And I asked him this during the big face-off the first face-off between Daredevil and Punisher. And I was like, so do they eventually team up? And technically, I guess Punisher is like a one-man show where he's like, I'm the Punisher. I'm gonna go punish people. So, but I loved watching the hand-to-hand combat, the different style, the fluid style of Daredevil versus the more trained and militant type.
Yeah, the more gruff and tumble.
Bar fight type. Fighting from the Punisher. But I mean, he matched Daredevil pretty well, considering.
That was something I actually had a little bit of a problem with. Now, people who might have a little bit more education in Punisher, if he were to go up in a fist fight against Daredevil, I personally think Daredevil would whoop his ass. But that's just me because I know a little bit more about Daredevil than I do about Frank Castle. So if anyone who's actually a really heavy Punisher fan knows, no, he's incredibly trained, he's incredibly skilled in hand-to-hand. Comment below and let us know who do you think would win in just a fist fight between Daredevil and Punisher. Oof. And that was something that I was a little bit like, I think Daredevil would have owned him a little bit more.
If you took the gun away.
Maybe.
Right?
I guess so, yeah. I guess he did get a quick draw out on
You think
Daredevil.
He kind of faked him out when he said bang and then shot the gun? And because it happened also quickly at the end of the episode.
And it looks like he actually aimed, like he was going for a headshot.
I mean,
but it might have glanced off of his armor.
Super advanced tech.
His body armor.
His body armor. Anything you didn't like about Episode 1?
No, it was brutal. Just brutal with the way Frank treated these characters.
Especially with the Irish gang, the mass murder.
In the meat locker. Oh. Hanging them up and then torturing them. And the one where you saw it coming out of his chest and up into his mouth, I was like, ugh!
It made me really uncomfortable.
But very good start, and
we're ready
we are now going back into episode 2.
So we'll see you guys in just a little bit. All right, we're back with a review for Daredevil Season 2, Episode 2. So, keeping up with the theme, it is super action-packed. What I wanted to go back to real quick, though, for Episode 1, you said this after we started watching Episode 2, was that as much training as the Punisher has, when he was chasing Grotto and Karen down the stairwell with a shotgun, he seems to be not so great of a shot. So was he just trying to scare? I would assume that he didn't have a tactic, he wanted to get rid of him.
Actually, now that you mention it, that could have been the tactic. He couldn't get him, he couldn't snipe him when he was in
That's
the
when he
hospital.
went up to the roof.
So what he did was he went in there, shot the place up, scared them out, went up to the roof, waited for them to pull out in the car, and then he was going to pluck them off. But the thing
Until
is,
Daredevil got in the way.
came in.
Okay,
Just
I
kind
like
of
that.
like what happened in episode 2.
So you want to talk about that?
So I thought the whole setup was actually really cool. I loved it when Frank went into the pawn shop to get some stuff.
Everything was hunky-dory, man.
He was like, "You're low level, I'll let you go." And then he had to mention a 12-year-old prostitute.
That's it. And that's, that's one of his triggers, no room for messing with children. So
Well, we haven't learned it yet, but yeah, that's
something I think we all know. Or
Yeah.
if you're familiar with the Punisher. And I feel like if I know it, people would know it.
Yeah.
I really like in this episode that Foggy is starting to really come into his own. In like season 1, he was a little bit more apprehensive, a little bit more scared, not as confident. By season 2 now we're seeing he's kind of talking shit down to the local DA. He's
I thought
like,
that was cool.
So cut the shit, lady.
Yeah.
So it just it shows that he's like, I'm not gonna let you push me around because I'm a lower level firm lawyer.
He did have some of those moments though in season 1, especially with the girl lawyer that he used to went to school with.
Yeah.
And he was able to kind of
But I
show
love
her up.
seeing that about him because he's just like physical appearance and wise, and compare him with like Matt, who is like blind lawyer by day, blind vigilante by night. So he's got this like really cool best friend. So you kind of you see him, you feel that he's overshadowed a little bit. So
But
I
then
just
when
really
he
like
gets those
seeing
moments to shine,
he's so great.
you're just like, all right, Foggy, go kick some ass in your own way.
Yeah, exactly.
But one thing that I did want to ask you is, what do you think of the whole theme of Daredevil's powers going all wacky?
I actually like seeing that because he is, after all, human. And I think we all tend to forget just because you have a cool, body armor and a cool costume and a cool name and you're a vigilante that you're like immune to a lot of things. I mean, Matt Murdock takes a lot of beating. The fact that he lost his hearing, it shows that, one, he's human. 2, this is a very equal adversary, I guess, for him. Someone who was trained. Yeah, someone who's trained, who knows how to take him. He shot him in the head. And this brought up another point I had with Melvin, the guy that makes his suit.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, are you sure this isn't just a warning shot instead of you just got lucky? Maybe it was a warning shot. Maybe he knows that if he hit that one spot, it would, disable him somehow a little bit. Maybe. Because we saw once they fell through that the glass top in the roof, the same thing happened to Daredevil.
It was a hard hit that kind of activated whatever is
and it just
screwing up his senses.
It just seemed like the Punisher knew when the way he was walking on the floor and he scraped his foot against the metal.
I know. Okay, to you, but honestly, I don't see how he could know.
You think it was luck?
I think it's either they're playing it off as luck, or the shot that he just happened to give him as a warning shot is just happening to mess with his hearing. And I can see how it would, but I find that they do that a little too often in some superhero movies. I know they did it in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And the whole reason in that one I did not like. I just find sometimes where they conveniently lose their superpower at the perfectly wrong time.
I don't feel like it was a convenient. I felt like it moves the story forward.
To where where Punisher would be able to get the upper hand, and then you can have that conversation between the two.
Yeah, because these two, it's only episode 2, but they haven't spoken a word to each other at all. So I'm dying to hear that conversation. I'm pretty sure we're going to see it in episode 3. I've been tweeting the fact that we're binge watching this. Somebody's tweeted me, hey, have you seen episode 3? And I was like, we're getting there. And he's like, it's going to change your life. And I'm like,
awesome.
Okay, we'll see. And again, the fight choreography in this series is amazing. And one more thing, since we were talking about making it too easy, did you feel like they made it, one, too easy for the Punisher to track people? And what did you feel that they also made it too easy for Matt to find the Punisher's home based on like the dog's
smell
blood?
Of the dog?
Right.
I can kind of, a little suspension of disbelief is needed for the finding of him. I think how the dog just happened to be like, oh, okay, you're good, and then walked away was kind of convenient. I can see how the Punisher would have everything set up. I can't see how all those cops would constantly be missing their target.
Right. It's like stormtroopers.
Honestly, they happen that in almost all superhero movie, any kind of action movie.
They got him in the arm.
Everyone is a bad shot, I guess. But yeah, that is a good thing is that it got Frank in the arm.
Yeah, and they were moving too, I guess, to the credit of the story. Not that we're bashing the show. We love the show.
Yeah, it's still we're nitpicking it.
We're nitpicking because there's not really a lot of negative points, but we wanted to give you some sort of levels to this review. All right, so that was our review for episode 2. We're gonna go watch episode 3, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back with our episode 3 review. Wow, action-packed. This was the episode, not that I didn't know anything about it, but I was looking forward to it. Got what I wanted. Mm-hmm. Conversation.
And finally, you got to hear Frank talk. You got to hear the Punisher. Well, no, I mean like really talk about his theology, you really found out more about not just like his background or anything, but more about who he is.
And it's so satisfying to just finally hear the two of them talk about why they do it and why. Like why... How do I say this?
What is their theology on it? Like,
right.
What is it? When he was saying that you're only half a measure, you hit them, they get back up. I hit them, they stay down.
And I really can't disagree with either one of them. Yeah. I totally see Frank Castle's point of view, and I see Matt's point of view. Mm-hmm. So I can't be like, well, neither one of them is the bad guy. Yeah. They just have their own way of persecuting these criminals.
Yeah, and I mean, the guy that he got, Grotto, he killed an innocent old woman.
And did you see how that made Matt
hesitate?
Flip? He goes, "What did you do?" Mm-hmm. So it's like they're the same. It's just that kind of, Matt's like, no, we can. There's redemption. There's good, and he tries to see the good in people. Where the Punisher, he's a soldier. He's seen too much. He goes, just get rid of them. Yeah. They'll never hurt something. But I let that be on me. I kill that person. They'll never hurt another soul again. Another thing I really liked in this episode too, before we get into the big stuff, okay. Claire comes back and she was talking about the mutual friend, and she basically looped in, without saying it, Luke Cage.
Yeah, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
And so that was a nice little, really cool crossover, subtle crossover. Trying to think, one more thing I like, this is very small, but when the motorcycle gang was coming up and, it was all down to Daredevil, before all of that, he just went, I was like, oh, superhero nutcrack. Yes!
And finally we got
them where they hurt.
That hallway, the season 2 version of that hallway fight from season 1 that just made people go, oh my God, this was an awesome fight.
This one felt longer. Mm-hmm. This one felt much longer, although... More weapons, although I still love that season 1 hallway fight. I feel like that one, in my opinion, it's better. Not that this one sucked, but that one was just like, whoa, what? And this one, I mean, it's still really amazing. It was intense and action-packed. I can't ask for any more. At the end, I really thought that maybe, it's probably too soon, but maybe the Punisher was going to kind of come to... Daredevil's rescue.
Yeah, the one time that he was getting choked out, that he might have just pulled out a gun and shot the guy.
But you love how he got out of that? Mm-hmm. Through that the chain around, and he walked up the wall. I was like, oh my God, it's honestly, so good.
I want to see a little bit more of that. Maybe when he starts fighting ninjas.
Yeah, when Elektra comes in.
Mm-hmm. Then you'll see him start doing more like flips and spins and more acrobatic stuff, because that's something that Daredevil's known for in the comic books. Almost kind of like Spider-Man, how he kind of moves. Yeah. But I thought this episode was awesome, action-packed. You got some really juicy character moments in there when he was all chained up. And that's actually an image that's pulled straight from the comic.
Is it?
Is Daredevil tied up with the chain against the chimney.
And was it, in a comic, was he in the same scenario with Punisher? Or you're not
sure? I think we'll need some help from viewers.
So you guys put that in the comments below.
I think it's when he was going up against the Punisher, but I might be completely wrong. I just remember hearing about it online. They showed like the image of him chained up to the chimney, and then they had the picture of him chained up from the series. So tell me what you guys, if you guys have a little bit more history background on that than I do.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. And then the final scene of this episode was Karen pulling out the X-ray. Hello, the skull, the Punisher skull, and you see that little
bullet hole. He got shot in the head.
But that's basically, I guess, all the authority has on him is that his name and an X-ray, and it didn't seem like they had anything else on him as far as like personal profile. But it was just, I like that little subtle introduction of the skull in there. Because I kept on thinking, I was like, are they going to make him wear the shirt?
Well, they are.
No, I know they are.
They're going to put that on his Kevlar.
Well, at least it's not like the other movie with the pretty Punisher, where he's just like...
The pretty Punisher?
There's two. There was like the more badass Punisher, and then there was like the pretty one.
Well, and then there's also the really old Punisher. Oh my gosh, who played him? Blonde hair, Ivan Drago. I remember him from... Rocky.
Oh, that one. Okay. The Russian.
Yeah, how come I can't remember?
They'll help us out. They'll put it down in the comments.
Put him down there.
Because you guys
as soon as we turn it off, I'll remember his name. It's weird. I remember his character's name from Rocky.
Well, that's a memorable role.
Very true.
All right, guys. So that's it for our review for episode 1 through 3. We will be back with episodes 4 through 6. So come back to this channel, subscribe, thumbs up, do what you got to do so you don't miss our review. And of course, comment below. Let us know what you think of these episodes. Don't spoil it for the other people since we're only talking about 1 through 3.
Yeah, don't put like any...
We haven't seen it yet. They can't do that for YouTube.
I thought you could, like...
Not for YouTube.
Okay, fine.
Just
shows you how good I am at YouTube.
It's okay. All right, guys. We will see you in the next review.
See you guys.